Hey there, Manna with Johanna people. It's Johanna Sophia of Johanna's Raw Foods, and I am here today to make something that you all love and that you all can make in your own kitchen with just the vegetables you probably already have and the sunflower seeds or other seeds and nuts. And that is Veggie Burger Bites, and in this case, raw Veggie Burger Bites. And they are just the way you want them. They can be spicy, they can be mild, they can be very carrot heavy, or they can be very tomatoey. There's just so many ways of making Veggie Burger Bites work. And I'm going to bend this down so that you can see what I'm prepping. And I've put everything together here so that we don't have to spend that much time chopping. I mean, we still do have to do chopping, but, you know, gathering things, etc. So, hi, Angela, making Veggie Burger Bites. Yeah, write down what you see because these are not written recipes. These are principles that you can vary endlessly. Like today we have for our Veggie Burger Bites, we have soaked sunflower seeds. See that? They're already soaked. And with sunflower seeds these days, you have to really watch out that they are actually raw. Many so-called raw sunflower seeds, organic ones too, in the health food stores actually have been pasteurized. And that means they don't sprout. They don't even absorb the water to awaken that germ inside of each seed that will then grow. So you're losing a lot of the nutrients and life force and that extra protein that you get from soaking your seeds. So yeah, I have soaked sunflower seeds. I have here not soaked, but you could also soak them some hazelnuts, not much, but that just is what it is today. And some, oh my God, I'll be darned. We'll have visitors. I'm yelling because it seems a mouse has dug a hole into my walnut. And it was in a closed plastic container. I guess the lid wasn't closed properly or something. All right, so the measurements are really not that important in this case. Yeah, maybe we should go to the kitchen because you can see better. But I want to make this here quickly and put all the ingredients into a container that holds everything. So everything that's ready is going into the bowl, and then that's where the mixture goes. But I just realized I don't even have a knife with me. So we do have to go back to the kitchen to look for our knife, my favorite knife, although currently it is not very sharp. Let me sharpen it a little bit. It's my green knife, the green handled knife. And you know how to sharpen a knife? By just at a slight angle, letting it, chafing it lightly with another knife. Now some knives are made of too much of an aluminum mix. They cannot, I suspect, I'm not a knife expert, but I suspect, so, and then they cannot be sharpened, but most can. And here's Lynn. Okay, Lynn is joining us because he missed his Fitness Over 50 class, so we're still at the knife sharpening, Lynn. Did you ever do that, or did your parents or somebody do that?
Sharpen knife?
Yeah, with another knife. Sharpen a knife with another knife.
No, but I have a knife sharpener.
Yeah.
Not an electrical one.
So you see, this is what I learned from my father. Even if you don't have enough, yeah, and it's just, this knife is a goodbye knife. It just doesn't have, I don't know why, but it just doesn't have that edge. And I can't get it there fast enough. Okay, it'll be what it'll be. It'll be fine. So Len, join us. We have, okay, let's just go through all the ingredients that I'm going to put today into these veggie burger bites. We have walnuts, we have hazelnuts, we have pumpkin seeds, we have raisins, we have, of course, the soaked sunflower seeds we talked about. We have carrots, we have sun-dried tomatoes, we have zucchini, a parsnip, nice and sweet, and green pepper, an orange, and an apple. So those are going to be our ingredients, and then that is followed by spices. Now Lynn likes his food not spicy, so we will actually we will make the mixture very non-spicy, although I think cumin might be okay, and the mild paprika, so that just for the flavor, not to make it spicy. And then I'll make some mild burgers, and then I'll add more spices because I do like them spicy. All right, so now I'm just chopping, and you can observe a little bit how I chop. And again, this is, because I've developed and run. We just need to chop so that it fits into the food processor. And that is not very small. So everything that goes in there gets chopped. Very important, get the stickers off your veggies and your fruits. These are all, of course, organic, so they all have, but these days, even when they're not organic, often they have stickers. Okay, so stickers are all off. And we just want our pieces to be small enough to be caught by the knife in the food processor. This does not go into the blender, but it goes into the food processor. Oh, this is already pre-cut. Now with peppers, I always want to make people aware that this is very, oops, now I'm putting the seeds all over the place. Do you see how I'm breaking off the pepper around the stem? And this is not something that you should be throwing away, especially if you're doing organic everything, because that's good food we don't want to waste. It's just a very high principle of mine. I guess my kids always say, that's because your parents were in the Second World War, and sometimes they say, Mom, it's not the Second World War anymore. Don't be so stingy. Because, of course, what we don't put into the mix goes onto our compost, and therefore still has some kind of use. Okay, so carrots can make the majority of your vegetables in veggie burger bites, but can also not. So, the variety for veggie burger bites is endless. And again, here you have the proof that my carrots are alive. You see how they're growing there in the fridge? And that's the live food, that's the life power we want them to have. And I often actually put this in, as I have explained to you before, and I'm going to put this in, because it includes, that's where your, actually this goes into, this is where your vitamin B12 is, and as many of you know, I have organic vegetables. They, by definition, are not allowed to have any preservatives or growth inhibitors on them, which is what any potato that you will get that is not organic will have growth inhibitor hormones on them so that they don't sprout as fast. And that growth inhibitor hormone makes the potato infertile, but guess what? It also makes you infertile. And that's not just you when you want to have babies infertile, but it makes it much harder for your body to produce healthy cells. So you want to avoid, if you can, vegetables that have been sprayed with growth inhibitor. And I know that because, again, for many years I worked for an international law firm, and I actually translated papers and lab books on a compound that was used or was tried as a antibiotic and was too deadly, but then was developed as an herbicide and growth inhibitor. And, you know, I read and translated the discussions of, well, this can work as growth inhibitor on potatoes or on other root vegetables so that they don't sprout. So there, the deadly stuff. All right, what else do we need to chop? The orange. Let me see if this is important. No, call it back. Jersey. Oh, that's probably for the workshop tomorrow. Tomorrow, guys, is my Indulge in Desserts workshop with Karen Ramsey, famous raw food chef and author of Creating Healthy Children. Beautifully researched book. She's one of the early ones who actually healed their kids. Actually, no, this goes in the blender. Nah, we'll do the one-off today. Garlic is best peeled when you squish it, and then, you know, because everything goes in the food processor today, we'll just put it in there, including our raisins, just a small handful of raisins because we want to sweeten up the mix. Okay, so then the nuts, however, we're going to grind ahead of everything else. And, oh, you can't see me, too bad. I love sucking out those orange peels. Of course, oranges are also, okay. We are now moving to the kitchen. We are now moving to the kitchen where the machine is, and we're going to have to bring our stuff there. And here everything goes into the food processor. We won't need any water right now, maybe a little bit more later. We're going to first grind our nuts because they grind better when they're dry. Since we didn't soak them, and we so this is just for the dry nuts. We're not going to put the sunflower seeds in here yet because those are wet. But no. And we're going to grind the nuts first, put them into the container, and I'm going to put the sunflower seeds in there as well. Not the sunflower, the pepitas, the pumpkin seeds. Yeah, I don't want too much of that because I like the flavor to be more nutty. Although sometimes I make pumpkin seed burgers that are mostly pumpkin seeds, and that works for me too. So stuff. Okay, sunflower seeds. Oh, we do have to grind those now. Len is taking the sunflower seeds. Thank you, Len. There they go. So Len is the luxury client. He gets all these extra workshops in my house because he's nearby. So you see now we have a little bit of bite still in these nuts. They're not entirely fine. They're not like nut butter. So there's a little bit of crunch still in there. And I like it that way. And they can go into the blue bowl. Wait a second. Here we go. Yeah, I still have some plastic in the house. What can I say? Everything else is so heavy. And these cheapo bowls are good for turning things. So I'm just taking the nuts out of the food processor. Don't have to be particularly clean because it doesn't matter. And in our Vitamix, we're grinding some flax seeds first because the flax seeds we need to bind everything together. So because our Vitamix is still, there we go. Our Vitamix is still dry. We're going to put some flax seeds in there. And again, my flax seeds I didn't bring to the table, so I need to wander around with you one more time. Here's a big bag of flax seeds. Look at that. And they are actually recently better priced in the bulk section of your health food store than ordering online by the 20 pounds for some reason. So I buy them at my local health food store and bring them home in these big bags. And they go straight into the, this Vitamixer pad. I have to rinse this out because my son made breadcrumbs in there, and while that too is organic bread, we may not want the gluten residue in there. So I'm not that particular normally, but you know, let's be as good as we can. So we want, I think 1 cup is actually enough because we just want things to, and a little, we just want things to hold together so that we can make nice flat burgers that keep, and we can either freeze them, keep some in the fridge ready to eat, and you can even dehydrate these veggie burgers to a crisp so that they're like, yeah, like crunchy. But of course, me with my poor teeth, I like them softer. In your blender, even a regular little blender, this is a Vitamix, you can just let on the highest speed possible, let the seeds fall into each other and get blended out. They fall toward the center. Okay, this gets put into the mixture last because it thickens everything so much that it becomes harder to stir. So what I normally do is I put the ground up flax seeds into a container and put them aside. And it's just going to take a few minutes until everything else is ready. Take them out of the blender. Of course, there was a little bit of humidity at the bottom. That's why it stuck a little more than it would normally do. Okay. And, well, there is one more thing that we need to put into the blender. If we want to put sun-dried tomatoes in there, these are very dark. I'm not so sure how raw they are, but they're sold as raw sun-dried tomatoes. So let's trust that that is the case. And normally I would put the spices in with this mixture, and I'm actually going to put the orange in there and some of the raisins so we don't have raisin pieces. And
how much water did you put in?
Oh, that the water amount depends so much on how watery the vegetables are. So it's going to be, the water content is different every time, depending on how much flax you put and depending on so many things. Don't be shy, come on in. Do your thing, do your thing. I'm doing my thing. All right. Okay. So I do want to put some cumin and some paprika in here, though. Mild stuff that Len will not be affected by, but that helps the flavor to unify all those flavors nicely. You know the famous spice drawer. There's paprika, there's cumin. We can also put hickory, a little bit of hickory salt. Oh my God, I need to order this stuff to give it that barbecue flavor. Okay. There we go. So in the blender, this is the hickory smoked salt. Don't go too close, it's very strong. Is that okay? A little bit of that?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, that's the almost rest of it. And we're going to put a small teaspoon of a mild, oh my God, our spoons in this house. Disappear, a mild paprika and cumin. Are you familiar with, I'm sure you are because it's very Middle Eastern. Sort of.
No. I haven't experienced it.
No? Does it smell
fine.
offensive to you?
No.
No. Good. Okay. Great. I love cumin, and it helps digestion, and yeah, just adds to the flavor. So this is going to get blended because you see, it also depends on how dry your sun-dried tomatoes are. So we still have a little bit of texture in there, which can be good because, then as you're chewing on your burger, you get the different flavors as you're chewing it. And it's a nice experience. I find, when the flavors sort of pop up as you're chewing something and you thought, oh, there's another flavor. Wow. That's what I like. All right, now we're going to put our vegetables in here. And look at that, they all fit. I guess we could have made more, but that's okay. And we grind them down. And then add the sunflower seeds as we go along and finish it up. Maybe a little bit more. I am grinding the sun-dried tomatoes a little bit more. So this is done, but the veggies take a while. So I feel like I can't let you, because this should be grinding probably for another couple of minutes. So I'm going to switch you off for a couple of minutes and go back on for the rest of it. Okay, guys? See you in a couple of minutes when the veggies are ground down. Ciao.